Have you ever stopped to imagine what it would be like if time had no limits? If the past, present, and future merged into a continuous cycle, where the boundaries between what has already happened and what is yet to come were unclear? Time travel is a concept that has fascinated humanity for centuries, but is it really possible? Or are we just dealing with one of the greatest illusions in physics and philosophy? The theory of time travel is rooted in many aspects, from theoretical physics to our own understanding of reality and time itself. But to truly grasp whether time travel is real, we first need to understand what time actually is. At its most fundamental level, time isn't something we can see or touch, but rather a dimension in which all events take place. In a way, time behaves like a river that flows constantly forward. But at the same time, there are peculiarities that challenge this simple view. In classical physics, time was always considered a straight, unchangeable line. But Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, proposed in the early 20th century, showed us something surprising. Time is not absolute. It can be manipulated by factors like speed and gravity. The faster you travel or the closer you are to a massive object, the more time dilates. This isn't just theory, it's a reality confirmed by experiments. For example, if you were wearing a clock aboard a spaceship traveling at near light speed, you would age more slowly than people on Earth. This is known as time dilation. And in a way, it's a form of time travel, though quite different from what we see in movies. But it's important to realize that while this might suggest we can travel through time, real time travel, in the sense of moving backward or forward in time, requires much more extreme and not yet fully understood conditions. The biggest obstacle to time travel to the past is the famous grandfather paradox. This paradox suggests that if you went back in time and prevented your grandparents from meeting, you would never have been born, creating a logical contradiction. If you were never born, how could you go back and stop them from meeting? This kind of paradox poses a major dilemma for theoretical physics. This is just one of many paradoxes that make time travel such a difficult problem. Another is the bootstrap paradox, which occurs when you travel to the past and leave behind an object or piece of information that becomes crucial to your own creation or the unfolding of events. How can something come into existence from a causal loop with no origin? These paradoxes challenge our understanding of time and causality, and are one reason why backward time travel seems so unlikely. Now, traveling to the future is a more plausible concept. As I mentioned, time dilation has already been confirmed through various scientific experiments. What happens is that as we approach the speed of light, or get closer to a very strong gravitational field, time slows down for those within that field. Practically speaking, this means you could travel to the future by going to a region where time passes more slowly. This doesn't mean instant time travel, but rather a way of slowing down relative time. If you spent, say, a few years traveling at near light speed, you could return to Earth and find that, while you only aged a little, the rest of humanity had aged hundreds or even thousands of years. However, we are still far from having the technology needed to make such travel practical. And that only leads us to more questions than answers about what it really means to travel into the future. Another intriguing possibility is the idea of wormholes. According to general relativity, wormholes are shortcuts in spacetime, connecting distant points in the universe. These shortcuts could, theoretically, allow a person to travel from one point to another almost instantly. And if a wormhole were stable and accessible, it could be used as a bridge not just for space travel, but for time travel as well. By the way, if you're enjoying this journey through time and want to keep exploring amazing ideas like this one, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Of course, leave a comment below. If you could time travel, would you go to the past or the future? I'd love to know your answer. However, we still don't know how to create or stabilize a wormhole. To be useful, we'd need a way to maintain its structure so that it could be traversed. To make matters worse, current physics suggests we would need something called negative energy to stabilize a wormhole. But that is still purely theoretical. Even if we could create a wormhole, the paradoxes of time travel would still apply, further complicating the issue. On the other hand, some scientists and philosophers suggest that time is not an objective or universal thing, but a subjective construction created by the human mind. If that's true, then what we understand as time travel might be an illusion. Instead of literally traveling to the past or future, perhaps real-time travel happens within our own perception of time. The block universe theory, for example, suggests that time is not a continuous flowing stream, but a fixed structure where all moments already exist. If this theory is correct, then time travel wouldn't involve moving along a timeline, but rather shifting our perception of what already exists. In that case, we may be traveling through time all the time, without actually altering it. What would that mean for our understanding of the past, present, and future? Philosophy also plays an essential role in our discussion about time travel. We consider that time is a subjective construction and not an objective dimension. The concept of time travel becomes even more complex. Throughout history, philosophers like Augustine of Hippo and Immanuel Kant questioned the nature of time, suggesting that it isn't an independent entity, but a way of organizing our experiences. When we try to think about traveling to the past or the future, these philosophical questions become even more intriguing. If we can travel to the future, does that mean we can write our own destiny? Or if we go back to the past, are we merely revisiting a path that's already been laid out, without the ability to change it? These paradoxes, more than just logical dilemmas, force us to rethink our own identity and what it really means to live in a temporal flow. Even though time travel as a physical concept still seems far off, we can look at it another way. Time travel doesn't need to be something literal. It can be a powerful metaphor for reflecting on our lives, choices, and destinies. If you could travel to the future, what would you tell yourself about your life choices? If you could go back to the past, what would you do differently? In many ways, we are all time travelers, constantly moving between who we were, who we are, and who we might become. The desire to return to the past or look ahead to the future is an expression of our quest for meaning and understanding. And even if real-time travel isn't a reality yet, we can use the idea as a powerful tool for introspection and personal growth. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who's also fascinated by the mysteries of time. Tell me in the comments. If you had a time machine for just one day, where would you go? See you in the next video. Until then, keep exploring, questioning, and traveling, even if it's just with your mind.